Hi viewers, so today we'll talk about IELTS writing. Previously we looked at IELTS speaking and listening and all that, but today we're going to look at IELTS writing. And basically this is about your spelling, punctuation and grammar. It doesn't matter whether you're doing your computer-based or paper-based exam, you definitely have to work on your spelling, punctuation and grammar, because without that, then definitely it's not a good writing. And so let's think about IELTS writing now. So the test takes 60 minutes. 60 minutes, it's like 1 hour. And so within the 1 hour, you're required to work on two tasks. There's task 1 and task 2. So with the task 1, for IELTS academics, actually, because IELTS academics is different from IELTS general. So for IELTS academics in task 1, you're required to probably maybe describe something or maybe summarize some information in say a graph or a chart, or maybe just describe a process. And so for IELTS academics, it's kind of just a bit technical compared to the IELTS general, because for task 1 in the IELTS general test, you probably maybe will have to write a letter. So we know how to write our formal letters and informal letters. We all did that probably in our primary schools or high schools. So, for a formal letter, informal letter, you reduce the formality. Definitely you don't say yours sincerely in an informal letter or yours faithfully in an informal letter. So IELTS general and IELTS academic writing are different in that way. In that task 1 for IELTS general, you're going to write a letter. Formal or informal. But for the IELTS academics, you'll be interpreting information from graphs, from charts, and all that. So really, you need to definitely know how different these are so that you don't get confused along the way. But for the task 2, for IELTS general and the IELTS academic writing, task 2 now requires you to maybe present an argument. So you're writing an argumentative or discursive essay here. And so what you need to definitely pay attention to is your persuasive techniques, because say you're talking about something to do with why the elderly should be taken care of at home, instead of them being institutionalized. So for you to be able to persuade the examiner, then there has to be the persuasive techniques, your anecdotes, your emotive language, your rhetorical questions, something like, does it not hurt you to think that a mother who's raised 7 children does not have anyone to take care of her, and they just find that the only way to take care of her is to take her to an institution? That's a rhetorical question, which is quite emotive, because you wouldn't think that, such can happen. But then it depends, because someone else would feel that maybe the elderly should be taken to an institution because the family members are busy or something, or maybe they have their health issues. So it just depends on how you're able to present your argument. So IELTS general and academic writing, for task 2, they're probably just the same. But the difference is only in the task 1 for IELTS academics and task 1 again for the IELTS general. Now, something to note is that for your task 1 for both IELTS general writing and IELTS academic writing, your task 1 takes at least, you need to write at least 150 words, So I'd say do not underwrite, but you can exit with probably maybe just 10 or 20 words. But for the task 2, again for both, you write at least 250 words, So you need to at least be aware of that. So thinking of tips for the IELTS writing, just like maybe for the rest of the tasks, you need to be aware of your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Very, very important. You need to work on your persuasion, which is, to persuade someone is to convince them. So persuasive techniques. Also, you need to be aware of the time so that you manage your time wisely. People would say that spend at least 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. But well, this can be different for different people, but that is what is advised, because, task 1 is only 150 words. Only that now, if you're working on the IELTS academics and there's a graph you need to interpret, if you're not very good with your graphs, then you might find that you're spending more time in task 1 than you are in task 2. Also, maybe some other tip is for you to ensure you're able to use your transitional words. So practice, conjunctions. However, moreover, in addition to that, because we have conjunctions that show contrast and conjunctions that also show additional information. Maybe something else to do with the IELTS writing is you've got to be legible. For those who are sitting for the paper-based exam, you have to be legible, because, it's not like you're going to be penalized for your handwriting. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but it should be legible. Because if it's not legible, someone would think that you're spelling a word wrong, yet it's just that you shape your H in a different way. Your H and your N, sort of look the same. So you need to be aware of that. But again, even when you're working on your IELTS writing on the computer, maybe what you need to do there is to just be aware that they are not going to give you the spell checkers and all that. They remove all that for you. So you need to punctuate well. You need to write the correct spelling of words. But also here, it requires for you to really practice, because if you're not very fast in typing, you might be disadvantaged if you decide to go with a computer-based exam. So really, just to wish you well as you prepare for your IELTS exam. And these are some tips for the IELTS writing. Ensure that you practice, because you say practice makes perfect. I wish you well. Thank you.